Ange, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming live across the globe, Angeli Rao, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ange, Rob and Robbo. News and views, entertainment too. See Ange, Rob and Robbo. Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome indeed. It's Tipsy Thursday or Thirsty Thursday here on the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. David Robinson is in the house. Hello, Mr. Robinson.
Hello, Mr. McKnight. Great to be with you on this wonderful Thursday. But what, are we just doing a double act tonight?
Well, maybe I was about to ask, are you trying to seduce me, Mr. Robinson?
Well, if you pay for the drinks, I'll do whatever you want.
You're easy. Well, at least that's what everyone says. No, Ange is away tonight. She's taken a day of annual leave. Can you believe it? But joining us is someone very special. Let me tell you about her, because it's not an easy task to bring Hollywood to Brisbane, but that's exactly what our special guest host is doing. Kristen Souvlis, along with her business partner Nadine Bates, have created Like a Photon, a production company who are seriously kicking goals both here and around the world. Kristen, welcome back to the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Oh, it's been too long, lads. Here we are.
You
Cheers
came on the
to
show
you.
last year. You blew us away. We said we've got to get you back. It's taken us a while, but we men work on very slow timetables, so we're glad you're here now.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting. Broadcasting live from my bedroom.
Well,
What a time.
whatever it takes. Can I just say, you look prepared for Thirsty Thursday?
Look at this.
Oh, my
I got
goodness.
this glass. It was a Christmas present from my sister-in-law. It's a bird, Robbo. It's a bird. It's filled with wine. Just let me demonstrate. Stand by.
Oh my God.
Out of the anus.
Out of the anus.
And I've got to ask.
Which is actually the title of my upcoming memoir.
I've got to ask, what happens if you blow through that hole?
Oh, mate, you don't want to blow through that hole.
Well, I was just thinking of those bird whistles, you know, where you blow at the same place. Anyway.
Sonorous.
Hey!
Hey!
So you are a
Musical.
producer. Tell us what you do.
Yes. Look, that's a great question. What I actually do is kind of delegate tasks to other people who then do the work of making television and film for your screens.
Brilliant. Well,
So-
look, I love
you.
that description. You've actually got a new movie coming out. It's called Daisy Quokka,
I do.
World's Scariest Animal, and we've got a trailer. Let's take a look.
Please welcome the scariest animals from across the globe. Adewale Khan, King of the Kingdom. Drago. Margot. Next up, this is Daisy Quokka. Who is, well, a quokka.
It's been my dream ever since I was little.
This is World's Scariest Game.
You realise you're a quokka, don't you? Quokka.
It's not what quokkas do.
Quokkas are small and smiley. Never give up on your dreams.
You must swing across the ocean of sharks.
So, you'll be my coach? Woohoo!
Come on, kid. You've got to be strong. You've got to be tough. But most of all, are you ready to win? Let's get scary.
Wow, look, that's a quokka. That actually looks great. You're making movies that
Thank
our
you.
kids are going to consume. That's pretty amazing.
Look, I was actually pumped because Daisy Quokka was released yesterday and VOD and DVD, and my son watched it this morning and then requested it upon return instead of some like talking vehicle show.
Yay,
I know. He
that's
said,
a
"Quokka's
win.
on the TV."
That's a
I'm like,
win.
yes, you are going to stay in the wheel, buddy.
Well, look,
Good on you.
I can tell you the feedback already. We're getting things like, I'm already liking this trio tonight. So you are a hit with our viewers. They love you,
Thank
Kristen.
you. Bless them.
We're going to hear your views on the hot topics of the day throughout the night, so let's get into the items making news today. And another day, another damning story out of Canberra. Political commentator and former Chief of Staff for Tony Abbott's office, Peter Credlin, has spoken about her experiences working in government. She began by acknowledging it was a huge privilege and that she had an overwhelmingly good experience. However, she stated that some people should never have had the opportunity to work there. In an explosive, never-before-heard claims, this is what she had to say.
I'm going to tell you something now that I've never said publicly. When I was in the Leader of the Opposition's office, this is in the opposition years, I had reason to recommend the sacking of a staff member for lying and disloyalty, not in our office, in another office. When the MP cleaned out the former staffer's desk and the computer, that MP uncovered evidence that for many months, that staffer had regularly met with other men during the middle of the day while the MP was in question time for orgies in political offices.
She also spoke about the man who was fired this week after it was revealed he masturbated on the desk of a female staffer.
The man sacked by the Morrison government this week for his disgusting acts on his MP's desk and its distribution on a little chat group. How do you even think about doing that sort of crap at work? That bloke, I demanded to be sacked years earlier for disloyalty, for lying, for leaking against his boss. Now that bloke, it's not the same as the man I told you about in the orgies. That was another circumstance. But the bloke that was sacked this week was someone I sacked many years earlier. He never forgave me for it. Backgrounded to journalists about me that I was a bitch, too tough, all the stuff you've heard before. But you never heard my side of it, did you? I sacked him and I said he would never be back while I worked in that building.
This is quite extraordinary, isn't it, Robbo, for Peter Credlin to make claims against members of the Liberal Party staff. I'm quite impressed with her.
I'm not. If it was so against her and so against her morals, and she's just shaking her feet, well, why didn't she say something back in the time? If you're talking about people having sex in Parliament House when she knew about it, but only now because it's fashionable to come out and say things and say, well, I'm not going to be silent anymore. Well, why were you silent this whole time? If you're that worried about it, I know you're going to say, different time. Or it's
No, I'm not going to say different time. I'm going to say, why would she kick an own goal when she dealt with the situation? She got rid of him or he recommended him to go. Why is she going to make it a public thing when she's running the Prime Minister's office?
But she didn't get rid of the people who were having the gay orgies. Now, so she gets rid of a guy who's disloyal. This is the kind of moral compass we're looking at in the Liberal Party. He was disloyal and leaking. Now, that is a sackable offence. Get the hell out of here. But if you're having gay sex or any kind of sex in the MP's office, well, that's bad, and that was bad then, and I'm going to not remain silent anymore. So what is it? So if you're disloyal and leaking, out. If you have sex during the day in Parliament House and you bring people in and having orgies, no worries. Off your shoot.
No, she didn't say that.
Apparently fine.
They discovered that on the computer after he was sacked.
Fashionable. No, after
I agree. I don't know what Peter Credlin has to gain. Oh, please don't apologise. Apologise to the viewers for having to see Peter Credlin's face say this kind of stuff. Now, what's the... I don't understand what she has to gain except for the fact that it could be a Murdoch pylon.
Yep.
Sky News, part of Fox, they don't like the Prime Minister at the minute, and he threw them under the bus, so they're going, well, guess what? We got some skeletons of our own. I mean, I couldn't do anything about it then, and I shan't be doing anything about it now, but God, I'm going to break my silence bravely.
I think you guys...
So brave.
I think you guys are being very political here. I think sometimes they live in a world of politics and there comes a time where a movement is so big, like what we're seeing here at the moment. This movement is huge and she's taking the opportunity to say, This has been going on for a long time. She hasn't tried to point it at Labor. She hasn't tried to shift the blame. She said, when I discovered this, I recommended the guy go. And on another occasion, when someone was leaking, we then found out that this had been going on. And she's saying this is not acceptable. She's not saying it's acceptable that orgies are happening in Parliament House. She's actually saying quite the opposite, Robbo. I think sometimes we have to stop judging people on who they are and maybe on this occasion what they're saying.
No, because what we're seeing here is Peter Credlin getting up on her high horse, her moral high ground, and going, well, this is wrong. Well, why didn't you say something at the bloody time? If it was so bad, I'm going to keep going back to that. No, not the gay orgies, though, she didn't.
She didn't know about that, but another person, there were two people she talked about.
She did know about that because the MP discovered the evidence of it, and she knew about it back then.
As they were clearing out his office.
The MP's office was moving, not the man who was in.
Here's another thing.
No, when he was sacked.
I'm going to flip over to Rob's side. I'm just going to... sorry. I don't know how this works. I'm just sitting here drinking out of a cup that's made out of a bird. But as a hashtag woman in a high-up office... And, you know, this is very benefit of the doubt. I don't actually like Peter Credlin personally, but as like a high-up person in an office who is a woman, who is in that toxic culture, perhaps she wasn't listened to. Perhaps she didn't have the power that she's saying she did. Because if it's a dominant culture, it's extraordinarily hard to change. I can't even get people to wash their hands in an office, let alone, I know, I'd probably fire someone for wanking.
Yeah, would you?
I mean,
probably.
Yeah, I love that. That's not definitive.
Like, I'm like, would I?
Yeah.
Was it on a desk? No, I absolutely no.
Well,
that's,
did
no.
the desk offer consent?
But as a woman, we'll never know. Was it on the app?
Exactly. Robbo, what I want to do here, and I don't want to labour this, but one of us have got the wrong end of the stick. I want to play that second grab of Peter Credlin again, just so that we can listen intently, because I think one of us, and it could be me, this is why I want to play it, misunderstanding. Let's have a listen.
The man sacked by the Morrison government this week for his disgusting acts on his MP's desk and its distribution on a little chat group. How do you even think about doing that sort of crap at work? That bloke, I demanded to be sacked years earlier for disloyalty, for lying, for leaking against his boss. Now that bloke, it's not the same as the man I told you about in the orgies. That was another circumstance. But the bloke that was sacked this week was someone I sacked many years earlier. He never forgave me for it. Backgrounded to journalists about me that I was a bitch, too tough, all the stuff you've heard before. But you never heard my side of it, did you? I sacked him and I said he would never be back while I worked in that building.
So that's the wanker who was sacked.
I apologise. I've run the wrong clip, I see. Can you pull up the other one and play that, please, Amanda? Apologies.
I'm going to tell you something now that I've never said publicly. When I was in the Leader of the Opposition's office, this is in the opposition years, I had reason to recommend the sacking of a staff member for lying and disloyalty, not in our office, in another office. When the MP cleaned out a former staffer's desk and the computer, that MP uncovered evidence that for many months, that staffer had regularly met with other men during the middle of the day while the MP was in question time for orgies in political offices.
I think that she is merging two stories with one. But some breaking news for you quickly. The former federal Liberal MP Warren Entsch has emphatically rejected Peter Credlin's claim that several years ago she was responsible for sacking a coalition aide. He said he did it. She didn't do it at all. She had no part in sacking him.
No, I was okay with women. I did the same.
Here's the thing, that I did see that story early this afternoon, and the thing is, I think he's misunderstood what she said. In one of those clips, she said she recommended the person be sacked. Now, I'm putting two and two together. I'm saying this guy was working for Warren Entsch, and she agrees he sacked her. he sacked the guy. And that's when they found the material on the computer. And she never claimed to have sacked that person.
Orgy material. The wanking guy is another guy. So this is like they sacked the guy for disloyalty, and then he happened to be having orgies also. I mean, that's... Okay.
No.
Maybe one indicates the other. Disloyalty indicates orgies.
Rob,
it is difficult to keep up with the amount of wankers in Parliament House. There's no doubt about that.
It's hard.
Can we move on from this? Oh, are you going to play those clips one more time? Please, let's move on to the next bloody topic. For God's sake. You were right, I was wrong. Let's move on. No, I'm just trying to move on the show.
Is that the shame bell?
That's
Amanda, let's play the clips again so we can show everyone I was right. Amanda, play the 2 minutes of clips again now.
It was 30 seconds.
Next topic.
All right, let's move on. All right. The woman whose bravery started a movement that has left a lasting impact on Australian politics is making headlines again today. Former Liberal staffer Brittany Higgins has lodged a formal complaint with the Prime Minister's office accusing its staff of spreading rumours about her partner. Ms Higgins, who alleges she was raped by a former colleague in a ministerial office 2 years ago, said she was told by journalists that backgrounding was occurring. It's a claim the PM has avoided on no less than 14 times in Question Time, and even earlier today on radio.
Can you categorically say that your office hasn't been backgrounding against one of her loved ones?
There's been no one in the gallery. Nothing's been raised with my office from anyone in the gallery making any of those accusations or any discomfort about anything that my office has done. So. People make allegations all the time, second, third hand, but there's no one has raised that with my chief of staff out of the gallery, no.
But after that interview, Ms Higgins filed a complaint, and it was a topic that could no longer be avoided.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. I refer to the formal complaint from Brittany Higgins to the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, asking him to examine if the Prime Minister's office undermined her loved ones. Has the Prime Minister asked his staff if they undermined Brittany Higgins' loved ones? Does he deny his office undermined Brittany Higgins' loved ones?
The Prime Minister has the call. Mr Speaker, I have seen that and received that correspondence, Mr Speaker, and will be responding to Brittany Higgins in the course of today, Mr Speaker. But separate to that, following my interview this morning on ABC AM this morning, my Chief of Staff received confidential information, not the matter the member is referring to, but confidential information from a primary and direct source regarding these matters. And in response, and based on that information, I have asked my Chief of Staff to commence a process in accordance with advice from the Department of Finance for dealing with complaints against staff members. We will now follow that process, Mr Speaker, in dealing with that matter.
Kristen, I've got to say, I think this is one of the biggest issues the government is facing, and I'm actually glad it's back in the headlines. We have a situation here where the government was expressing concern for Brittany, but behind the scenes were allegedly backgrounding against her, more specifically her partner. Do you think the government actually cares, or is it a political issue they're just trying to clean up from the mess?
I can't imagine that the government cares, because if they did, they would have done something about it when the girl was allegedly raped.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think this is, they're absolutely trying to clean up their act. Mr Morrison has put his foot in it. He's annoyed the press. That's, I think, why this has gotten some traction again, because things are coming to light because he is playing a really bad game here. And of course he doesn't care. Of course he doesn't care, because this has been the modus operandi for the government for as long as governments existed. The denial of women in positions, the denial of wrongdoing that happens, the culture of harassment and sexual aggression and power play against women, and I would say not being a minority myself, but against minorities, against people of colour, against anyone who isn't a cis-het white male in a political position, has been relentless and continuing for as long as government has been there. And unfortunately for them, they've gotten caught out, can't cover their tracks very well, and it's gaining momentum. And that is what Scotty from marketing can't actually deal with right now.
I think you've got a really good point because, Robbo, you can see how it worked. Issues come up, embarrassing for the government. All right, let's mop it up. Behind the scenes, let's dig out a dirt file. What can we find? Start backgrounding to journalists. What they didn't expect here was the reaction from the public, from women who have had enough, and this has taken a life of its own. And the government, the usual ploys to kill off a story, has not worked time and time again here.
You're right, and I agree with both you and Kristen wholeheartedly on this issue. The point is that usually you can sweep these things under the carpet, and that's how Scott Morrison works, really. It'll blow over soon. We'll just ignore it. Let's do a photo op with the tractor or a photo op with, some scientists, but it's not working this time. And like Kristen said, they don't know how to deal with it. They're normally used to having that kind of control and power over a story, and this is much bigger than them, and it keeps rolling on. The reason this story rolls on, and it should, but the reason it's rolling on like it is because they haven't from the get-go dealt with it properly. They've either tried to sweep it under the carpet, or they've tried to do some backgrounding and then that was exposed, or they have been piss weak in their investigations. This letter came out because one of the biggest reasons was Brittany Higgins still hasn't been talked to when it comes to the Prime Minister's office, hasn't talked to her. The person at the centre of the allegation should be the number one person you bring in and you talk to. She clearly wants to talk. Okay, so there can't be. Philip Gaetjen said, we wanted to respect her privacy. Well, she's brave, which is fantastic. She doesn't want the privacy on this. She wants to be heard, and she's not being heard, and it's just ridiculous. I think the biggest thing here is ScoMo cares about not doing a photo op. He loves a photo op. He loves to promise millions and billions of dollars to certain things, which we're still finding out that hasn't been spent. The emergency fund, not a dollar spent there. He can't do a photo op with rape, and that's the problem. He can't.
But
there's no way he can.
I think he can, Robbo.
He's tried.
I think he absolutely can. I think he's missed an opportunity here. I'm abhorred at what happened to Brittany. It's horrendous, and it would have happened to so many others, and she's exceptionally brave. On my most cynical level, if he had brought her in, talked to her, grandstanded about action, and then done nothing, it would have gone away. Because people just want to hear that he cares. What he's done is deflected so badly that people are like, hang on, does he not care about women? Like, he's really flubbed this. He's gone, I've got some daughters, that's why I should respect women. I've got a wife, that means I respect women. You're like, mate, all you had to do was take it seriously for 24 hours. Yeah. That's literally it. That's all you had to do. I mean, also, massive reform and societal change, and this should be constantly on our radars. It's not. And if you wanted it to go away, spin, baby, spin, because you flubbed it.
Yes. And can I just say one last thing before we move on this topic? Is it just me who finds it weird that he's getting his chief of staff to look into whether anyone backgrounded on Brittany Higgins? Wouldn't the chief of staff been involved in that if there was backgrounding against Brittany Higgins, which I personally believe there absolutely was backgrounding. Yes. I have no doubt. It happens. It's
no doubt.
Yeah, it's like getting Saddam Hussein to investigate whether he's got weapons of mass destruction. You know, like, that's an old reference for you kids who probably don't remember that.
Oh, it's okay. The war's still going on, so maybe they do.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
Rob, I really agree with you because...
Did you say you rarely agree with me?
Choose what you want to hear. But what Kristen was saying was that they're used to dealing with this kind of issue, and you're right, Rob. They have not done what they were supposed to do, and by trying to sweep it under the carpet has just made it worse for them. You're exactly like, it's just he's used to be able to move things on, and he can't move this one on, and now he doesn't know what to do because he's used to be able to spin it over here and go whoosh, over there, look over there. Okay, quick. You know, that's what he's used to doing.
Marge, the rains are here.
Yeah. Look over there.
Quick!
But he's not responding to it, yeah.
There's a plague!
You know, yeah. But look over there. Yes.
All right, let's
guys are
move
great.
on, because while it's the comedian's job to deliver the punchlines, this audience member took it upon himself. Adelaide comedian Alex William was performing in the central Queensland when he encountered a heckler in the audience. After having enough of his interruptions, he poured a beer over the man's head. And this is how the man reacted.
He's how he
Speaking to news.com.au, the comedian said some parts of the world have reps and stuff. I think it might speak volumes of the characters up here in central Queensland. There are certainly some cowboys up here. Considering they're getting that rowdy and drunk on a Tuesday, I still can't believe I got punched on a Tuesday. Like, don't you have work in the morning? Can I say, Kristen, the comedian had it coming.
You can.
He poured a beer over the man's head.
Bold claim.
You're a comedian.
Yes.
You control that room. You've got the power of the microphone. Having the microphone is a very powerful tool. He didn't know how to handle it. You handle a heckler, you berate them, you put them in their place, you use comedy. Pouring a beer over his head is an act of physical violence, and he got it in return.
I think that two things can be true at once. I don't agree with how I don't agree with how he dealt with the heckler with the beer on the head. I think that's kind of aggressive and performative, which, you know, that's I assume that's his kind of comedy style, but I do not condone anyone punching someone in the head.
I agree with you.
I think any kind of physical violence for something that didn't really threaten that very large man's safety. It was more his ego, and it wasn't very nice. I think that's right. Central Queensland, eh? What a ride.
No, but it doesn't just happen in central Queensland. There used to be a podcast called...
It doesn't, you're right.
I Love Green Guide Letters, and they did a live show in Sydney. And during the show, these two guys just started yelling abuse. So this was a really weird podcast. Basically, you remember Steele Saunders, Robbo? We had him on Studio 10. And He literally, his whole shtick would be getting comedians and reading out Green Guide Letters, and he would read it out. I think your latest episode of the Robin Robbo Show was appalling because you had to go at Peter Credlin, you know, whatever it might be. Anyway.
They're up to date.
These two guys really started going off, and this was all captured on audio, and they kept it in the podcast. And the way Steele dealt with it, he actually stopped the show and he said, look, guys, this is obviously not the show that you came to see. You've seen a comedy shows being on. You've decided to come down. Here, go and get your money back. I'm happy to refund your tickets. You know, we don't want any trouble. You know, like, and he actually brought it down, got enough, once they'd left, got plenty of laughs out of it, but handled the situation. Now, it might be a case of this guy not being, I don't know this comedian, but maybe that comes with experience. The last thing you ever want to do is pour a beer on an audience member's head, especially if they're drunk. I agree with you, Kristen, that the punch is not acceptable either. But, Robbo, this shows the experience with some comedians.
Yeah, he has form in this department, though, Alex. There are a lot of videos that go around where, with hecklers, he actually, there's a wonderful video where he, like, just starts screaming, like, you see, and get out, and blah, blah, blah. And people start leaving because he starts attacking a heckler. So he's got form in this department. And he's done this before, but he hasn't done the beer thing. Look, shut up, hecklers, right? You know, there's no one... Should the guy punched him? Of course not. You know, get over yourself, walk out. It's not a big deal. My favourite part of this, though, was in the clip, the sound man runs over and gets the second mic.
Oh, yeah.
That's all he's worried about. He comes over and grabs the second mic and
Protect
then
the mic.
right out of there. They're expensive equipment.
Absolutely.
But Alex Williamson or Williams? Who knows? He does actually attack the crowd, and there are plenty of videos out there where he attacks the crowd.
Right.
So this is not new. And so if you're on the other side of the argument, maybe you had it coming this whole time because he keeps doing it.
I think we've just discovered why he's doing gigs in central Queensland. All right.
There's nothing wrong with central Queensland, beautiful part of the world. Beef in Rockhampton, beef capital. You want beef? Oh,
there are no problems with central Queensland. But if he was a successful comedian, he might be doing metropolitan areas. I'm getting
just really quickly. Sorry, I think Rockhampton has a beef week, and I believe that they had a slogan. Just to leave you on this, where it said, "Come to Beef Week, spread your cheeks and smile." And I thought that was a lovely, that was a wonderful, that's what they said. Yeah,
and then cut into them, they're nice and juicy. All right, let's
Take with the side of humour. Love it.
Yeah, I love it too. All right, Twitter has claimed another victim. After 10 years of engaging with fans, model Chrissy Teigen has deactivated her account. Teigen is no stranger to online trolls and has been a target for them over the years. In recent weeks, she posted several times about the hate she was getting online. In her farewell message, she said despite her tough exterior, she longs for approval and that she is bruised from the punches from people with 2 followers. Soon after that message, Teigen deleted her account. All right, good on her is what I say. I just think social media needs verification. You must be who you say you are. I am so sick of fake accounts who think it's okay to attack people. I'm speaking as someone who's been attacked by anonymous accounts that just want to spread malicious lies. Robbo, is social media good for us?
No, social media is not, and Twitter is the gutter of the world, and I've said this for years and years and years. I detest it. Look, I've got to be honest with you. When I heard that Teigen was quitting Twitter, I honestly went, off you shoot, who cares? You know, you're not anointed, whatever, I don't care. What I then thought more about it, and I thought, well, no, but she is very popular. She has a lot of followers. This might send a very powerful and very clear message to social media platforms like Twitter. Clean up your act, because when you lose someone like Teigen, where she has a lot of followers, you can monetize those followers. Twitter can. It's time that Twitter, came to the table, stepped up, and really cultivate the gun that they've grown. Because let's face it, there are so many disgusting, noxious weeds that they have allowed to, go exponentially over the years. In the line of free. Maybe this is one of those things where we need to see more really big Twitter profiles of Twitter personalities say, well, no, it's not a nice place to be. Yeah. Because Twitter is, it's an awful, awful place. China took responsibility for it.
What I think
it
about
can be a great place.
What I think about yes, it can, but it mimics human nature. It can be a great place, but people are shit. People are crap. Like, at the end of the day, well, I think what Robbo is saying about platforms having to come to the party, I think that they've lent on this like free speech, democratization of the internet for far too long. We are past that point. We are at an oligarchy. There are oligarchs at the top of our communication channels. They are that guy Zuckerberg, the Twitter guy Jack, some other dude, whatever, Facebook now owns Instagram. There's like 3 or 4 places where people go to meet and speak in public places. These are not government entities. These are privately owned channels that make money off users, and they make money off people being online and of people communicating in this way. They weaponize hate. We've seen that in time after time. They let Trump on. They continue to leave Trump on despite him genuinely inciting riots and violence and hatred. I mean, sure, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about privates. That's what I'm saying about private enterprise. They're not a government channel. Like, they can take whoever they want off. It's just not in their best interest to, and that is where the money comes in. And I think that where you pay money, where the user, the person who is using the platform is the product, which is exactly what we are, we should get some kind of protection with that.
I think
because they're the only two industries that call their clients, I guess, or whatever, users, are social media people and drug dealers. They're the only two places that call their clients or their customers users, and we are users.
And we are all shooting up. Oh my goodness!
We are.
I do love Twitter. It's a great. I use it more than Facebook, as fans of the Ange, Rob and Robbo show know, because I'm rarely on Facebook. If you want to communicate with me, you'll get me every time on Twitter. I just think that if you want to communicate on Twitter and social media, you should have to use your real name. Your account should be attached to a phone number, not for me to see, but for Twitter to be able to verify that you are a real person, because the fake accounts are the troublemakers. All right, before we move on...
And if you want to communicate with me, you can only do it via TikTok dance. That's it.
All right. I'll quickly show you this one before we move on, because a simple question has shown what people in other parts of the world really think of Australia. A Reddit user asked in a post, non-Australians, what is one thing you believe happens in Australia? Out of the top 24, these are some of our favourites. At number 19, you always have to look out for drop bears. I love how people think we've got drop bears. 18, the Australian Parliament is filled with two separate parties, the koalas and the kangaroos. God, I wish that was true. 15, some kind of insane bug/cane toad war happened, and I don't remember all the details, but I'm pretty sure the toads won. Yes, they did. Number 14, crocodiles are hunted with Bowie knives and fishing is done with dynamite. Yep. 13, I heard that dock spiders the size of hands are a common occurrence.
I haven't seen any lies yet, so...
5, meat tray raffles at bars. I'm pretty sure you buy a ticket and win a literal tray of meat. Yes, that is true. And number 1, I think that all Australians secretly get together weekly to invent new words that they can then litter into conversation with foreigners. Gay time, zuper duper, gobbies. It's a never-ending April Fool's joke. I think
Rob,
that's...
Whizzle wazzle!
Sorry, I'm confused. I know what a gay time is, a zuper duper. What's a gobby, Rob? I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I just gobbled you, Robbo.
I feel like Robbo was setting me up for something.
I know. Am I a meme now?
You could be. You very well could be. Hey, look, Joe Casamento is just around the corner, and we've got a really special musical surprise, and I'm a bit excited for that. What I want you to remember is think of the Ange, Rob and Robbo theme. That's all I'm going to say. But for now, it's time to get the latest news headlines with Robbo.
Rob, thank you very much. Let's look at other stories making news headlines on this Thursday, the 25th of March, 2021. And we start by following we brought you last night. The New South Wales MP at the centre of an alleged sexual assault has been named as Nationals MP Michael Johnson. Mr Johnson has issued a statement identifying himself as the man at the centre of a rape allegation from 18 months ago, saying any investigation will conclude I am an innocent party. He said he would take leave immediately, step aside from the government party rooms and cooperate with police inquiries. Sickening social media pages are calling on school pupils in Melbourne's West to upload footage of brawls. The Herald Sun has uncovered dozens of Fight Club, Instagram and TikTok accounts which encourage students to send in fights, including footage of one-punch attacks in schoolyards. According to the newspaper, Melton Secondary College Principal David Reynolds acknowledged a series of brazen incidents in the school's latest newsletter. An officer who shot pepper bullets at a TV crew covering anti-racism protests in Louisville, Kentucky last year has been nominated for an Excellence Award. The officer, Dustin Dean, was seen firing pepper bullets at reporter Caitlin Rust and cameraman James Dobson in TV footage on May 29. The nomination was made for his actions during the protests. Households with solar panels could soon be charged for feeding electricity back into the grid. The Australian Energy Market Commission is recommending changes because the electricity grid was struggling to cope with the changing power landscape, which is generating more solar energy than ever before. The changes would see those without solar panels save around $25 a year, while those with panels would see their benefits slashed by around $100. And finally, a TV presenter in Romania has been attacked live on air by a naked woman who stormed onto the set with a brick in her hand. The incident was captured on video, showing the host screaming in reaction to something off camera. A crew member had to run in and stop the attack. Righty, now to tomorrow's weather. Around this wide, brown, beautiful land, there's possible morning storm for Cairns with a top of 31, while the sun will be shining in Brisbane with a top of 30 degrees. 24 for Sydney, and they can expect showers. It will be a pretty cloudy day in Canberra, Melbourne, Hobart and Adelaide, with all temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Perth and Alice Springs will be sunny, 27 for Perth, 32 for Alice Springs, and it's situation normal in Darwin with a shower or two and a possible storm with a top of 32 degrees. You're up to date here on the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you so much, Robbo. Well, in a time when overseas travel feels like a distant memory, we are having to rely on music to transport us. And our next guest is bringing a bit of Spain down under. Paco Lara is an acclaimed flamenco guitarist, and he joins us now ahead of two huge shows at the Sydney Opera House this weekend. Paco, welcome to the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show with Daya. Hello, Daya. Welcome as well.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Now, I had the pleasure of talking to you both just before the show as we were working. We always like to do technical checks. And Daya, I said to you, oh, what's your relationship? I was thinking you're the manager. And you said, I'm the fiancé.
Yeah, my novia. My girlfriend.
In Spanish is novia. Novia is a girlfriend. Fiancé.
Ah, okay. Well, I thought he was being a bit cheekier than that, hence my laughter. But he's a true gentleman, obviously. Hey, look, Paco, you started playing the guitar at age 8, and by 16 you were a professional touring and recording flamenco musician. What attracted you at such a young age to this instrument? Because when you're young, it's always about trying to find the right instrument, isn't it?
Yeah, but for me it was very easy because flamenco in Jerez is like a language. Flamenco is in the street, you know. My father loves flamenco, always listening flamenco in Jerez. Everybody loves flamenco, and in my grandfather's place, my uncle had a guitar there, and I always wanted to play the guitar.
So this was a lifelong dream. This was what was drawn to you, and you moved to Australia in 2017. Does your music, how does it connect with you and how you see people in this country?
Yeah, la conexión, ¿no?
¿Cómo ves la gente aquí?
People in Australia is amazing. People love good music, love culture. People is very kind. The only problem I found in Australia when I arrived is people don't have a lot of information about flamenco.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But I think people don't have to understand flamenco. People have to feel the music.
That's an interesting. I think this is very true because music can touch us in a way that nothing else can, and it's beyond languages, I think.
La música nos puede tocar y está por encima de los idiomas.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yes.
Hey, look, you are performing at the Sydney Opera House. Now, this is a real honour. This is the most iconic building in Australia. It's part of your Andalusian guitar tour. How does it feel to be performing at such an iconic venue?
¿Lo que siento?
Sí, actuando en una sala.
Well, I feel for me it's an honor, no, to play there. Because I have played around Europe in similar places, similar venues, no? Important venues, for example, the opera of Moscow, for example. or the Queen Elizabeth in London. But always I play accompanying big artists. Now is my opportunity to present my own show, like a soloist guitarist, and in my new country, because I live in Australia. For me, it's very important, this concept.
Well, I love that. But Paco, let's be honest. Yeah, sure, the London Palladium, the Moscow Opera House. Nothing compared to Australia's Opera House, surely.
Of course.
Now,
Opera House is amazing.
Now, I heard a rumour that you might have a special song for us. I'm very excited about, or have I sprung this on him?
No, he just practiced it this afternoon, picks it up, and he just did it.
It's the Andrew and Robbo theme. Oh, yes. Well, I'd pay the price of admission just to hear that. Paco, that was brilliant. Well, look, you can catch Paco's show, The Andalusian Guitar, at the Sydney Opera House this Saturday. Now, look, there are just 2 shows, but you better get in quick because the evening show is almost sold out. Just head to sydneyoperahouse.com for information and tickets. Paco, thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's the Random Life Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the Random Life Shot of the Day.
It almost sounded there that Rob was prepared to throw his knickers at Panko. Very excited, wasn't he? Giggling like a schoolgirl.
I thought it was terrific.
It was fantastic.
Get your tickets now, people.
Well, yes. Today we're taking you to St. Petersburg in Russia. St. Petersburg is a city in Russia which knows how to keep its elegant facade intact. No skyscrapers are allowed anywhere near the UNESCO World Heritage Site to spoil its 18th century appeal. Weather there is cold and cloudy with a low of 0 degrees and a high of just 7 degrees. That seems like absolute bloody heaven to me. Let's get some feedback here on the Ange, Rob and Robbo show, but very special tonight, it's the Kristen Rob and Robbo show. Matthew says she dealt with it in-house and don't blame her for not putting a game there about Pete Credlin staying silent all these years about a topic that she's just so passionate about all of a sudden because it's in the national narrative. Next. Mary, the problem with political jokes is they get elected. Yeah, you are right there, Mary. Plenty of jokes in the House of Representatives and the Senate here in Australia. Jan Murphy says, at least all this political turmoil has taken the news off COVID-19 and vaccines. Well, it's important to get vaccinated, though. But yes, COVID can get a bit stale. Amanda says, looked it up on Urban Dictionary. Kristen's definition came up, but so did something else. Not safe for work. We're talking there about gobbies.
Yes, I think you were alluding to something, Robbo.
You better believe I was. Holfer Williams says, make sure no one runs into the studio with a banana. Oh my, well, talking about gobbies. Stay safe there. And if you'd like to leave your feedback, you can find us at the ARR Show on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, or Ange Robbo on Twitch, TikTok and Instagram.
Robbo, I just want to know, how do you get a naked woman to run at you in a studio? How do you make that happen?
None of the jokes that I could respond with would work in this current climate.
Do you know what? If Amanda ran at me in a studio, it would be with the brick. All right. Look, it's time to bring in the lovely Joe Casamento. And Joe Casamento is standing by to bring us the weekly Choc Top segment. Hello, Joe.
Hello. Excuse me, I'm just pouring myself a glass of Verve, if you don't mind. It is Thirsty Thursday, isn't it? Glass of Verve champagne.
Who gave you
anyway,
that,
sorry.
Joe?
what? I actually did a beautiful event last night for a charity I'm ambassador for, this beautiful group called Autism Mates, who actually, oh my goodness, I should tell you about their movie. It was a film premiere. I'm going to talk about it next week. It's done all by autistic actors and creative talents and animators, and it's called Timmy the Turtle, and they're hoping to launch it in primary schools to help with anti-bullying and all those messages about inclusion and how we can trade, because it starts with our youth. So let's talk about that next week. I'm going to show us a trailer of that. Anyway, that's what the verse.
Fantastic. Well, what did you see this week, Joe?
Well, this week I've been in gold class this afternoon. Naughty. Gee, I do live a spoilt life, don't I? Privileged life over here.
You glamorous.
And I saw Godzilla vs. Kong, which is, of course, the fourth film in the legendary MonsterVerse. It was actually meant to be released last year, but as we know, COVID shut down all those plans. But it's now out in Australia. Next week in the US, it will be released simultaneously on HBO Max there, but it's out here now. It's got an all-star cast, one of my favourites, Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, and many more. Let's have a little look at the trailer.
This is our only chance. We have to take it. We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming. It's Godzilla.
Kong bows to no one.
Oh, please.
It looks like me battling my toddler trying to get him to bed.
I hope not, because these two big animals are rather large and bombastic, and as you can probably hear there, but these Dolby surround sound, when you hear it, it's actually the music, I think, that pulsates through your body that sort of gets you in this zone where you feel very anxious. Look, this isn't, I don't think, any of our usual cup of tea, but for fans of the massive, large action genre, then this will absolutely float your boat. It's an old school popcorn seller with another spectacle, and it's got dazzle and thunderous, almost deafening sort of sounds. I saw it in gold class, so I think that was even amped up. It's insanely ridiculous, let's be honest, but it absolutely delivers on its promise, and I think it'll be a big school holiday winner, no doubt, and a satisfying sort of visual spectacle. So I'm going to give it 3.5. Yeah.
Well, Joe Casamento, I've seen this trailer and I thought, is that just too stupid? I trust you implicitly, and it's stupid, but go into it with being stupid.
Yes, and I think, you know what, you feel like your money is, when you buy a ticket, you want to feel like you've had your money's worth. And I think in this instance, I mean, maybe take a niece or nephew, Robbo, for a good excuse to be there. But it delivers on its promise, if you catch my drift. Like, it's not a disappointing watch. It's you know what it is, but it is a worthwhile watch. That's what I'm going to say.
Lovely.
And shot on the Gold Coast.
Oh, was it?
And shot on the Gold Coast, yes. And the CGI is absolutely
lots of Queensland crew.
Yeah. There you are.
Lovely.
Nailing it. Bringing it to the world.
I think Sherry Botcher played Kong. That was just a little in-joke for Kristen and myself. Anyway, moving on. Joe Casamento, we want to talk about the new Margot Robbo movie. It's available to rent and download, but you've got a very special surprise.
Hang on, stop. Did you just say Margot Robbo?
Yeah, well, we're married, so... We are married.
Oh, what beautiful children you make.
Naturally.
You telling us
Christmas
you got
night.
married to Margot, she took your name. Have you told her everything about you?
Look, special
Have you
cuddles are
consummated
weird,
the
but
marriage?
we're working it out. Yeah, we're working that out. Anyway, Joe, you've got a special
Sorry, mate.
giveaway for our
Sorry, mate.
viewers.
I do. I love it. No, seriously, this is actually a great film. I've got it on here on DVD, and I've got some exciting news for fans of the and Robin Robbo or Kristen Robin Robbo show tonight. We have 3 of these amazing DVDs to give away. As we just said, it stars Margot Robbie and Finn Cole. It's a really beautiful coming-of-age story. Let's take a little look at the trailer. I think we have a little look.
The thief and murderer Allison Wells sent 5 human souls to heaven. If you see this woman, do not confront her.
You okay?
You found her, ain't you? The Wells lady.
It's complicated.
It's not safe me being here.
Or for any of us, for that matter. Scared, Alice.
Yeah, me too.
It's actually a really nice love story, and it's set amidst America's struggle during the Great Depression. Now, as I said, I have 3 copies of this DVD, which is out this week on DVD and streaming services to give away. And the way I'm going to do it is, of course, it's Tipsy Thursday, as we know, or Thirsty Thursday, as Ange likes to call it. So I thought, what could be more fitting for our viewers than to have to guess what I am drinking tonight? And you need to name the brand as well. Did you see that?
You've already
Yes.
said it.
And how did they do that, Joe?
The first 3 people to comment on our Facebook page here, and we will know because they come in, of course, in order, with the correct drink. I'm drinking the brand as well, please. We'll get your details and send you a copy.
Yeah.
There you are.
Can I just say,
This is great.
to
Thank you,
reiterate, go in the comments section now, put it down what Joe is drinking. You would have seen that at the beginning. Joe, I feel like you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're doing a giveaway and you're also trying to get another batch of that particular drink by doing some product
Brandy?
placement.
Me? No, look, I'm not going to pick it up again. You'll have to rewind to catch it if you missed it the first
Do you know
time
what?
round.
I don't know if anyone's got it. Weirdly, the comment section, not all of them come up, but some people are saying petrol, moti, motel. I don't know. It starts with V, people. It starts with V. All right, Joe.
It does.
There has actually been some serious news this afternoon involving a friend of the show, Jessica Rowe.
Yeah, this is actually really shocking, Rob. And my daughter actually saw it this afternoon. I'm shocked, as I said, and saddened to hear about this. Our dear friend Jess, who's a very good friend of the show, has been involved in a very nasty accident that saw her car catch on fire after picking up her daughter Allegra at school time this afternoon.
Look at that.
While everyone is okay, thankfully, can we just say that? Her black Volvo billowing smoke on New Southhead Road in Rose Bay, just outside of Allegra's school. A passing bus driver, can you believe, thankfully flagged the vehicle down. He'd seen the smoke and helped them get out of the car and to safety. The car didn't actually burst into flames, but it could very likely have. I know Peter Overton
did, Joe.
is
Look
very
at the footage.
grateful.
Can we roll that again? Look at this.
I don't think it all went up entirely in flames. The front
sorry.
it didn't
Yeah.
burst.
It was just the
on
engine or
fire.
something. But
it's still absolutely devastating scene there. And thankfully, as we said, everyone's okay. Peter, who, of course, is 9 News Peter and the gorgeous Peter and the most wonderful family man on the planet, has expressed his heartfelt gratefulness to this Good Samaritan that got his wife and his daughter out of the car in time to safety. So there you are. That's sending all our, love and God, just prayers and thank God to our
Joe,
Jess and her beautiful.
Bloody awful.
It is. Peter
Yeah.
didn't do the news tonight. Mark, I'm having a mental blank.
Burrows,
thank you. Like, I worked with the man. But I've been in contact with Jess today, and she said everyone is fine. Bit of an eventful school pickup is what she said. I sort of went,
That is
I've never
right.
known
I
Jess
tell
to
you what,
underplay anything,
that
but
is
she's
an
underplayed that
understatement.
one.
And all the schoolgirls, as you know, would have had their Snapchats out, and everyone was just in a bit of a panic there for a minute. But thankfully, as we said, everyone is okay. And all our kisses to beautiful Jess and Pete and Allegra and Giselle.
Absolutely. And Joe, there's been a tragic event with a child actor.
Yeah, God, from to another bit of sad news. I don't know if you remember Houston Tumlin from Talladega Nights. He played Will Ferrell's son in the 2008 comedy movie, and he's very sadly taken his own life. He was only 28, can you believe? Now, this movie would be where most people recognise him from. It was his only major film role. He was the cutie there with the curly hair. Since his acting days, he's actually served in the army. His girlfriend was in the house when it happened, and it's just such a devastatingly sad story.
Gosh.
Yes, many pointed out that that his Instagram actually, and this is a real telling thing, I think, for many people suffering from mental health issues, he showed no signs of any trouble on his Instagram. In fact, it was full of happy faces and happy emojis. So it just goes to show that you never really know what's going on behind closed doors. His girlfriend posted a tribute on Facebook saying, "I feel numb, I feel defeated, I feel lost, I feel empty. My heart is absolutely shattered. I just still feel like this is a really bad dream that I can't wake up from."
And I do apologise.
Very
We've
sad.
used the wrong picture there, Joe. It's a hangover from the comedian earlier in the night. I didn't update that picture. I apologise.
So it's important to mention, of course, since we are talking about mental health and these things, there is help available to anyone who is struggling at all with anything. And one of those places that is really good to go to is Beyond Blue, who you can reach on 1300 22 4636. 1300 22 4636.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. There is so much help out there. You're not doing this alone. Please do reach out for that help.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Joe. Staying with some kind of sad news, but it was also a celebration. Last night we saw the state funeral of Michael Godinski, but one star got very emotional.
Yes, Robbo. Ed Sheeran, big superstar Ed, flew in for the event. He did his 2 weeks quarantine, as he would have to, which he made mention of and said he was actually really grateful for. He sang 3 songs at the service, and this last one he actually wrote just last week while in quarantine for Michael. Here is some of it.
I wish that heaven were visiting ours, and I would ask them if I could take you home, but I know what they'd say, that it's for the best. So I would live life the way you taught me, and make it on my own. And I will close the door, but I will open up my heart. And everyone I love will know exactly who you are.
It
That's
was
beautiful,
very
Joe.
emotional. It's just beautiful, isn't he? Just honestly, no one can give you goosebumps like Ed, I don't think. He was in tears by the end of it, as he received a huge applause from the audience. But in a lighter moment, he was also joined on stage by our very own Kylie Minogue to perform Locomotion and All the Lovers Together, one of my favourites. Video messages were sent from all around the world, from people like Elton John, Taylor Swift and Sting. Jimmy Barnes, of course, also performed. It was a really huge and fitting tribute for such an icon of Australian music. And I think the thing that just came across was it's so rare in the music business to have a man that not only has so much energy and passion, but what was of note during the service was that all of the international stars said that they wanted to come to Australia just because of Michael, because he actually really believed in the artist, and he was more than just, you know, them making money, milking the cash cow. He actually really invited them into his life, into his home with his wife, Susan, and just, you know, they all became part of his family. And I think this tribute shows what an amazing man he was.
Yeah.
And I think also, Joe, it's so lovely to see a behemoth in the entertainment world who was a nice guy. There are no, skeletons in the closet. He was just a fantastic man who everyone adored. There's no weird, Hollywood kind of issues here. He was just a great man that you could clearly see last night. All of these stars coming out to honour him, and I thought that was a really great, kind of a great reflection. Normally, not a story we see from the entertainment world.
100%, you are spot on there, Robbo. He was a clean skin in that way, a good family man, and I just think he had an insatiable appetite for music, and that just showed, and the artists felt that and wanted to work with him, and he got the best out of them all for that reason. So he will be missed. I mean, he actually was, as you said, a behemoth, and I'm not sure that there's many who could fill those shoes. Very big shoes to fill.
Very true.
Thank you very much, Joe. We always appreciate your work. We'll see you next Thursday. And before we go, we've got to say goodbye to Kristen. Kristen, you've done an amazing job tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen.
Oh, look,
thank you,
thank you
Joe.
for having me.
It was an
Love it. I'll see you some.
The delay got us right at the end. It was so good, Kristen. We'll definitely get you back. And Joe, you'll be back next Thursday. Robbo, you'll be here on Monday. Well, along with me. It's the end of our week. We'll see you next week for the Androb and Robbo show. And we've got some great guests coming up and lots of hot topics to discuss as well. Have a great weekend. It's good night from McKnight.
See Andrew, Rob and Robbo, and Rob and Robbo show.